Welcome to Monday Meetup on Monday, June 23rd, 2025. So it is the start of another fantastic BOGO week, which is really exciting. And I'm Crystal Garvin. For those who may be watching the recording, I'm glad you could join us. We are going to start out talking about some back office updates that happen with our new compensation plan changes and enhancements this month, just to make sure it's clear how to use some of the cool new features that doTERRA has given us. And then we're going to talk about some BOGO strategies that will apply to this week, but also really are for any time in your business, any BOGO week, but really anytime you want to use them when it would make sense for you. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. I'm going to share my screen here. So you may not be aware, but there is actually something called a dummy account with doTERRA Back Office that we have access to if ever you want to show someone how some things work in back office without having to show your actual back office and your numbers and people's, private or personal information that might pop up when you are showing your back office screen. So this is Harry Potter's back office. And if you ever want the login information for that, you can just reach out to one of us. A lot of it's gone around quite a bit, so you may already have it. But if you don't and you ever need it, just feel free to reach out and text one of your upline leaders. So I'll use his account to show you some back office tools we now have access to. When you pull up your dashboard, it will show old first. So this is just showing what you would have qualified for with the old way of calculating power of three. So you want to make sure to toggle over to new. This is going to go away. Right now they have it here just as a comparison or because you might need to look back at an old month. So of course you could go back to the previous month or the month before, and you might need to be able to do that still for a couple more months. So it will go away after that's no longer relevant. So you want to make sure you click on new. And this is a great snapshot, just a quick view of your Power of Three bonus, where you're at currently in the month, and then also your rank. But it's just a quick overview. It doesn't really give you the amount of information you would need. So they've added this view full Power of Three tool and view rank tracker, those two buttons near the bottom. So it's just a quick way that you can get to a more detailed view from your dashboard. So I'm going to click on View Full Power of Three tool. And then I can go down and look at more details. So the current compensation plan, this is the amount, this is the volume that has been placed, and then this is the PGV, the personal volume. So if you hover over those bars, the green is indicating volume that's already been placed. The darker blue is your personal growth volume. And if there were any scheduled volume that had not yet processed this month, but is scheduled in someone's LRP cart, that would show up as this lighter colored blue scheduled volume. And then you'll also see places where needed volume will show up depending on what your goal is, depending on what you're shooting for. So this we'll scroll down and you can get more information. So you'll see Harry Potter's qualifiers here. And those who are, so this is the power of three, those who have already qualified will show up first. And so it's kind of based in order of who has already qualified and how much volume they've already had scheduled. So Fedora needed the 500, so that's 500 PV in orders. That's the PPV in orders on her frontline LRP orders. And so that's 530. So she has qualified. And then we have the next qualifiers kind of in order. So it goes down to where you see Rubus is here, but doesn't have any. So this is just someone on Harry's front line, but doesn't have qualifications met for Power of Three. So Hermione and Minerva, they've got their 500 exactly And of course, this is just a dummy account, so they can do that. At doTERRA, they set it up however they want it to display. But if you want more information, you can click on any of these qualifiers and look at their pod. So your pod shows up first over here, just a snapshot. You can see your own pod if you click on that, and it'll break it down. So your um, PPV is 623. That means this is your, how many of those are actually your personal enrollments. So that's your personal enrollment PPV up here, the 623. So it's the same for you or for Harry in this case. So everyone on his front line he has enrolled. If that were not the case, if someone had been placed there and part of that volume were not actually his, he's not the owner or the enroller, then it would be different numbers. And remember, there needs to be at least 100 personal enrollment PPV to actually get that bonus. However, if he didn't have that, it wouldn't prevent the person above him from getting theirs. That'll make a little more sense. We've talked about it before, but oops, I didn't mean to go that far back. Um, so hopefully you're familiar with that, but I can click on Nymphadora and it'll give me this snapshot. So it shows me the green already processed. Again, if there were some that were scheduled and not processed, or there were any needed, those would show up along this bar. And then it shows below that who qualifies her to receive her $50 power of three and which orders have been placed under her that qualified her for that. All right. And this, you can play around with this and click on the different levels, the $50 power of three, the 250 power of three, which it's going to automatically show the highest one that you have qualified for so far, but you can always click on the next one and see how far you are from the next one also. And so this one, the green around that circle shows that Harry is approximately halfway there, which just means enough orders have been placed that one of his has their 50, but two of them don't. So you can also go down here and see your boost. So the boost for the $50 power of three, that's the 400 personal growth volume, already qualified for that. So you see the check mark, the 250 qualified for that. And then there's this exclamation point if he wants to earn the 500 power of three bonus boost on top of his power of three, then what he would need to do to get to that point. And then it's going to show in order of highest volume already placed who is qualifying you. So these are your personal enrollments who've been enrolled in the last 12 months, and it's their current month volume. So that's how you qualify for your boost. So he's got Rubus here, 275 placed on his LRP. And then it shows you down here 5 months remaining. So for the next 5 months, Rubus will still count for Harry's boost because he's got 5 more months left of his 12, being one of his personal enrollment qualifiers for the personal growth volume metric. And then it goes down and shows 250, 150, how many months left they have remaining. And then from there, these are all orders that have been placed. I believe, yeah, there's none remaining out there. So it just goes in order of greatest to smallest. It also does show up in orange. I believe as soon as they're down to 3 months remaining, it goes to orange just to kind of alert you this person is in their last few months of their volume counting for your personal growth volume. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. You see the chat. What happens at the 12-month mark, they no longer count. So for the boosts, the personal growth volume, you'll see that here it says 1225 PGV. That stands for personal growth volume. That's anyone you enrolled in the last 12 months and their current month's order. So they will no longer count. So this is one of those bonuses doTERRA has added in to encourage us to continue enrolling people. So we see we've got a few people here who are down to their last 1 or 2 months. And that's just encouragement that you've got people who are about to drop out of counting for your personal growth volume. You're going to want to make sure you're continuing to enroll. And so for Harry here, 8 months remaining, 7 months remaining. Those are the longest ones. So that means that they were enrolled, 4 or 5 months ago. So he needs to work on his newer enrollments, those that he's enrolled in the last few months, getting them on LRP so that their volume will also start to count for this boost so he doesn't lose that boost. Okay, so good question there. So that's the power of three. And you can get more details by clicking on any of the qualifiers that you want to see more information on. All right, so that's the first one. And then the rank tracker, I'll show you that too. All right, so this is going to show the rank that you're currently qualifying for, or that you're closest to, I guess it is, because he needs 3,000 to qualify for elite, and he's got 2703, so he's pretty close. And it does show 297 OV needed. There is no more scheduled. So at this point in the month, because we're already to the 23rd, last time I looked at this, it did show quite a bit still scheduled, but a lot of LRPs have already been processed for the month at this point in the month. So he's got nothing else scheduled. So he would need to get that through Bogos maybe, or reaching out to people who maybe haven't reordered or that kind of thing if he's really pushing for elite. And it shows his personal volume, team growth volume. So that's everyone on his team who's been enrolled in the last 12 months and is placing orders on his team. And then the personal growth again is the people who he personally enrolled who placed an LRP order this month. And so again, there'll be the key here if ever you see different colors and you need a reminder of who is qualifying for that or what that means, what those mean, those colors. So it does give quite a bit of information, not everything you need to see. One thing I thought I noticed the other day, I wanted to point out under, whoops, I'll go to that in a second, the power of three. I think it was Hagrid or Rubik. Okay, so that one was not, okay, that was just showing, I thought there was someone it showed an example that they did not have enough personal volume to qualify. Maybe I was wrong about that. It was just something I wanted to point out because even if they don't have enough personal enrollments out of that 500 pod, if they don't have 100, they will not earn their power of three, but that doesn't keep you from earning your power of three anymore. They don't have to earn it. In other words, they just have to have the pod. So the pods are looked at individually. I thought there was an example of that, but I don't see it now. I must have been mistaken what I was looking at there. So that may not be all of the information you would want. The other nice thing is we have some new quick reports. So if you're looking for more information on your personal growth volume, your team growth volume, team qualification, transition report, 6 months inactive report. Those are great people to reach out to. They're people who have not ordered in 6 or more months and their accounts are in danger of going inactive. And that would be great people to reach out to for reactivations. But like if you want to look at the personal growth volume report, that'll give you a little more information than what you saw just on the trackers for power of three and rank. And so this is going to give you a list of everyone who still qualifies. And that way you could also get their contact information, their email. You can see their exact enrollment date, their next LRP date if they're on LRP, their next LRP volume. So this can help you kind of plan ahead how many months that they have remaining. And then this shows you this is their final month for those two people. After this month, their volume will not count toward Harry's personal growth volume anymore. So again, he needs to be reaching out to maybe newer enrollments that aren't on LRP yet. So that's one I thought was really handy. And then the team growth volume, this again is just going to show anybody in your entire team who's qualifying you for the team growth volume if you're at a rank or going for a rank where that affects your commission, your ability to earn that rank. That does not apply to everyone. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds and confuse anybody. I did want to clarify though. So personal growth volume again is the total amount of LRP volume in the current month from personal enrollments who enrolled in the previous 12 months. Only LRP volume ordered after the enrollment month is counted. And then the team growth volume is a slight bit different because it's volume ordered in the current month from members on your team who enrolled or reactivated in the previous 12 months. So reactivations do not count for your personal growth volume, but they do count after the initial reactivation month, they do count for your team growth volume. That was something that was added later, which I know makes it a little confusing, but it really is a blessing that doTERRA said yes to that. Because people were asking, could reactivations count for personal growth volume and team growth volume? And they said not for personal growth volume, but we will for team growth volume. So volume ordered in the month of enrollment or reactivation is excluded from the team growth volume, but then subsequent orders are. So reactivated accounts can only affect team growth volume, not personal growth. Just wanted to make sure that was clear. Of course, rewards orders all calculate into those 500 pods for your power of three. So I have to keep going back and reminding myself which way it goes. And some of these things that will become second nature, we'll have it all down. But okay, so you'll notice on some of these trackers, what's nice though, once you hit one level, whether it's power of three or rank, it automatically shows you what you need to get to the next level, or you can adjust depending on what rank you're going for. So this one has already hit executive. And so it's going to show that, but if you want to see, well, I want to see a quick view of what it would take to hit elite. So then you hover over that and it shows 297 needed to hit that rank. And so on. If you're going for another rank, you can drop that menu down and see what it would take to get that just at a glance. Isn't that nice? Because it's been a little more cumbersome in the past. I do feel like these tools are really helpful. So if he's going for his 1250 power of three, can kind of get a quick glance seeing what it's going to take. So he's got the personal pods, but he doesn't have anyone under him qualified. And so he can't get to that level three, 1250, but the level two, the 250, he's got all three pod qualifiers qualified for that. And anything that's highlighted, you can click on, and then it's just going to take you to that more detailed view. This is the team qualification transition report that when I clicked on his qualifiers, that it took me to that. So then it breaks down, and you can change how many levels, which power of three level it's showing, but it breaks down what their pod volume is under these people. So he's really probably just going to be looking at his level two, maybe level three. And so you can change that to show just those levels that actually affect his 250 or 1250 bonus. Oops, I just changed it to the wrong thing. But that's helpful if you're helping team members also figure out who's qualifying them, where the pods are that are 500 or are getting close to 500. You can go through and see. So there's lots of different new reports. I would just recommend, because this isn't my team, I'm not familiar with Harry's team, so I'm getting a little bit in the weeds myself, lost because I'm like, I don't know these people and where their volume is and who they are. So if it's your own back office, it will make probably a lot more sense. I do like the 6 months plus inactive report. That's really helpful. These are definitely people you would want to reach out to about BOGOs or just in general to follow up with them. And there's different filters as far as how many months you might want to be looking at. I don't know if Fred Weasley, there we go. Last ordered, well, that's not right because he ordered just last month. I don't think Harry has enough. I don't think that Harry's account has actually been active long enough for him to have people who've probably been inactive. But if you've been around long enough that yours does, it'll show up there. Let's see what else. Oh, the rank tracker I wanted to show you on that one. I forgot. You can actually replace or edit a leg. So if there's a leg showing that is not, oh, it might not show up on his because let's say he's going to go for Premier because that's where you'd first actually have legs that you need to have qualifying you. So he doesn't have any that are there yet, but it's going to automatically show those who are closest. So he closest to executive because he needs two legs at executive. It's going to show those first. So it's got these two, Professor Binns and Cedric Diggory here. But if there's someone under one of these, so there's someone under Professor Binns that actually would be the qualifier for Harry, you can edit, you can replace that leg. The one thing I noticed was it didn't like, okay, let's say I'm just gonna say, actually, I would qualify off Hermione um or Rubus instead of off of the leg that had automatically selected, then it's going to replace that leg. So I can see how close that leg is instead of the leg it automatically selected. So if you need to select a different leg, you can. Okay, let me look at the chat. So after 12 months, the person falls off. Oops, let's see. Sorry, the boost, but stays in the main power of three. Yes. So they will stay in the pod. That is always true. It doesn't matter if they've been there 5 years, 15 years, if they're on LRP and they're in that correct spot to qualify you for power of three, they'll always qualify for your pod. It's just the boost that is the extra bonus that doTERRA added for us to encourage us to continue getting new enrollments on LRP. So hopefully that makes sense. I think I remember at a leaders retreat, them talking about being able to move wholesale customers around in your tree after 6 months inactive without having to even contact the customer. Is that a thing? Yes, if it's your enrollment and they have not ordered in 6 or more months, instead of them having to send an email because their sponsor really doesn't affect them as long as it's not an enroller change, it's just a sponsor change. You can contact your account manager if you're silver or above, or you can contact the business advancement team, which is a thing again. So those who are not yet at silver, we used to have the business advancement team. They did away with it because it wasn't being utilized that much. But with all these changes in the comp plan, there's been a demand for bringing back the business advancement team, and they've agreed to do that. So we have that available again. You can also reach out to an upline leader if you're not sure. Okay, let me go back to his dashboard. Oh, another chat question here. If a person falls off after 12 months, where do they go? Oh, yeah, they're still in the system. Totally. They just don't count for your personal growth volume anymore. So they're always going to count for your personal volume, your pod qualifiers, all of those. None of that changes. The boost is just a separate metric that sees if the people you've enrolled specifically in the last 12 months are on LRP and how much they're ordering. And if you meet that minimum, the first level is 400. So these are the different levels, 400 personal growth. So if you've got people who've, even if it's just one person who happened to order 400 on LRP this month that you enrolled in the last 12 months, that would qualify you. Or maybe you've got three people and there's all totals at least 800 altogether. So that qualifies you for the second level boost, 1200. would qualify you for the third level boost, which is what they're showing that Harry is at, just for example's sake, that he's got over 1,200 personal growth volume and could qualify for the third level boost. So the amount of the boost, that depends on what your actual power of three level is at. Are you at the 50, the 250, the 1250? So the 1250 starts at 1250, but if you have personal growth volume, you could have another 250 or even another 500 added on top of that. So the 400 PGV boost is an extra $50. The 800 PGV is an extra 250, and then at 1200, if you're at the 1200 and you have the 1200 PGV, then you get another $500 on top of that. So the Power of Three boost that we've had since, wasn't it January? I think they started in January. It was slightly different. So this is a little bit different, but it was prepping us for this. So we've had it actually all this year. We've had a Power of Three boost option available to us. That was to kind of help us start getting mentally ready for being able to have a boost all the time to our Power of Three. Okay, so those are some of the new things. And then there's some just quick links to the DMK where you can get images and videos and all those things you could use for newsletters or posting on social media. The Masters Club, Diamond Club, and Silver Club information are quick linked there. Diamond Club will be coming up in the fall for those who qualify for that. The Power Me, that we talked about some, I think Tanya talked about it a couple weeks ago. Um, just making sure people do know this is such a great tool while we're here. And there's a quick link to it. You can send out surveys to people, so you can send assessments. You can create a social media post. So this does have a built-in AI tool that'll help you create social media posts, or you could ask a totally non-compliant question and it will still give you an answer. So you don't have to worry about compliance. So which oil should I use for non-compliant issue? And it's going to generate a compliant answer. So it's going to say, well, we can't address specific health conditions such as that, but to support overall health of your heart or heart health and to maintain healthy blood pressure levels, you might consider the following. And then it's going to list the top essential oils, supplements. So if someone asks you a question and you're not sure, or you don't have your book handy or your app, or whatever it is that you normally use, your Facebook group, whatever, this is a great place to start. Also, if someone just asks you a question that's not addressed in any of the books, maybe it's a disease you've never heard of or a health issue you've never heard of, that type of thing. And then there's a link to learn more about the circulatory system and which products are good for that. So that's a helpful AI tool. At least I think there was a question. See if I can get back. There we go to the chat. I was able to use my boost. Oh, good. So you got the Zytos, you got your boosts, your Power of Three boosts. Oh, you can just email placements. That's right. Thank you, Tanya. I just saw that you're in the chat helping answer questions. I appreciate that. That's right. You can just email placements at doterra.com to move any wholesale customer who hasn't ordered in 6 months. That's right. You don't have to go through your account manager or business advancement team anymore. But for wellness advocates, that's not the case. That would be a different process. So congratulations, Felicia, on getting enough boost to get your Zyto scanner covered. All right, so just the Power Me, they're adding more things to this all the time, and it's a really good tool. So the social media assistant, um, you can say, well, I really want to write something for Instagram, and I'm looking for a casual medium length post that's about, we'll just stick with the same topic. When your target audience is middle age men, whatever you want to put, include a link, a call to action. I want them to join my educational Zoom that I'm going to be doing on healthy blood pressure, something like that. So you can go in here and it'll help you write a compliant social media post. And of course, it may not be all in your voice, but it can be helpful as a starting point. So there's controversy out there about how much we should be even using AI versus using our own brain. Reed, I'm looking at you. I have been very hesitant to use AI for that reason, but I know that sometimes we get writer's block and we just need to be able to come up with a good social media post quickly, and it could be a starting point. Please don't just copy and paste this without reading it. Make sure that it does sound like you. Make sure that, this says one of my favorites is doTERRA's Aroma Touch Blend. Well, maybe that's not at all what you use for supporting healthy blood pressure. And it talks about relaxing massage after a long day. Maybe you don't have anyone to give you a relaxing massage after a long day. So just know that this is going to give you a starting point, and then it's going to have a place for you to insert date, time, link to join your webinar, that type of thing. So really helpful tool that's also linked there. And anything else, I think that kind of covers some of the newer tools, unless there are any questions about Harry Potter and his back office here. It's not loading the reports. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, well, Harry Potter has not enrolled anybody this month. That's why. And he doesn't have anyone on his team who has advanced. It does still down here show enrollees and whether they're qualifying for LRP, product of the month, new members on his team. Of course, this is all generated by doTERRA, so they need to add some new enrollees there to make some things populate in those fields. But all right, so that's some of the new back office. I hope that those tools are really helpful to you. I have been excited about being able to see some of those things at a glance, and it also kind of helps just solidify in your mind and remind you some of the new changes, some of the enhancements, the boosts, those kind of things. Okay, any questions? I think we answered everything in the chat. All right, so it is BOGO week, and we have shared lots of strategies and tips and helpful things like that in the past. If any of those are things you're putting into use, into practice that are helping you get a good start to BOGOs, please share. I'll share some of our top things that I would recommend, top tips for BOGO week. It's the first day, so you still have lots of time, but be keeping an eye out. Some may actually sell out if supplies run low, so encourage people not to wait. Um, Also use, if you are shooting for a rank or certain power of three level, map that out. There are rank planners, power of three worksheets out there, or you can just write it out on a piece of paper. That's what I've done. Actually, I have mine right here. I'm kind of keeping it handy all the time. I've got on just a clipboard and a piece of paper. I'm tracking where different people are in ranks because I'm going for my top rank that I haven't hit in a while, and this is going to be a good month for me to go for that. And then I'm mapping the power of three because with the pods, it's different. So I'm using that to help me wrap my mind around what needs to take place for me to continue earning the same power of three I was used to earning, or possibly even some boosts. So I've got the first level PGV boost, and what it would take for me to get to the next one. That's where all those back office tools come in handy. But it also helps me to know who to reach out to who may not have ordered in a while, may need to reactivate, may need to know about those BOGOs. So over the weekend, I took time to make a BOGO newsletter and send that out. I did a special giveaway form that people can enter if they're in certain spots on my team. So I targeted people who are in my power of three and my rank goal um, metrics that I could offer them some extra specials. So you can even create your own BOGO if you get to the end of the week and you're realizing, oh, I'm so close to this next rank, it would be really worth it. Go through your stash. You can just do a buy one, get one of your own. And there's so many different ways to do that. Some people will do specific ones like buy Serenity, get balance, and I'm going to keep it to that. Or they might say, buy any of these 10 oils because maybe you have 10 extra oils or you have lots of extra breathe and on guard and you're like, you know what, if somebody buys an on guard, I'll send them another one out of my own personal stash. Just they need to go on their account and buy that on guard and send me their order number because that would be in a spot where I need volume. So you can create your own extra BOGO at the end of the week if you're seeing you're not quite where you want to be for the end of the month. Make sure to utilize refer a friend. This is where loyal customers who may not want anything to do with actually selling doTERRA or being a wellness advocate, building a team, but they love the products and they will give referrals. Remind them that they have that link they can share, that they can share their favorite ways to use, that they'll get doTERRA dollars in their account. If they do that, refer a friend. It's a great time for that because BOGOs are an easy sell. It's a great time to focus on enrollments, of course, because it's also just an easy time to be in front of people. But remember reactivations, people who haven't ordered in a while and may need to reactivate, reach out to them. This is a time when we get a lot of reactivations is during BOGOs. If you have a good group of people in your local area, it's a great time to gather people. You can have them over to see and smell and try out the BOGO oils that you have, the things that they may need to learn about, and also have a sampling bar for foundational wellness, that kind of thing. While you've got their attention, get them on some things that get them interested in and trying some things that they would actually reorder on a monthly basis if you have the ability to gather people where you are. And make sure you're painting that picture of the value of these BOGOs. Some people are going to look at the total amount that they're going to save. What is the total dollar amount I'm going to save if I get that whole BOGO bundle? And including the value of the box, the value of the Roman chamomile that comes free, or they just want to know a total number of free oils. You're going to get 5 free oils. Some people really pay attention to the dollar amount. How much does each of these 10 oils, and I didn't do the math beforehand, I meant to, and I totally forgot, but how much does each of these oils come out to dollar amount wise if I get all of them? So if I get the whole BOGO bundle, I'm getting the 5 oils that I'm buying plus the 5 oils free plus Roman chamomile. So I'm getting 11 oils. And what do they come out to? Like $16 a piece or whatever it ends up being. People go, wow, that's a really great deal when you break it down that way. So different people's minds will look for value in different ways. So paint that picture of how much they're saving, what they're getting free, and then just educate. This is a great time to go live on your social media. If you're not used to doing that or don't do it often, it's a good time to be brave and do that. Talk about why you love the certain oils that are free, which BOGO is your favorite, that kind of thing. If you haven't used it a lot or you've only used it in one certain way, share that. People want to hear how you personally are using that oil and the difference it's made for you. And then if you're thinking, but I also want them to know it can be used these 5 other ways or 10 other ways, just look at the DMK and see what doTERRA's put out there for usage. Open your Modern Essentials or Essential Life book or app and just read from it. So this is how I've used it. This is my powerful story about using this oil, but also here's some other ways. Let me read through the benefits or read through other testimonials or whatever it is. The BOGO group can be a great place to find that, right? Um, you can feel free to copy and paste from the BOGO group. Speaking of the BOGO group, it's there for you to invite people to. But if you happen to have your own smaller customer group and you want to share some of that, you can copy and paste, share away with that. But yeah, make sure that it's personal as much as possible, the education that you're offering. But the BOGO group, the BOGO club group that Tanya has created is for all of us to use. Invite people in. She's doing amazing giveaways. And that's another place where if you feel really passionate about a certain oil that's on the BOGO list, go live in there. Show up as a leader for your team, for your customers to tell about your favorite BOGO item, that kind of thing. You can post in there and that and reach out to Tanya if you're not sure if it's okay to post a certain thing. But we've had different leaders go live in there to share in the past. This is a good time for you to stock up too, even if you don't need necessarily one of the oils right now. Such a great deal. You could use them for gifts. You could use them for make and takes if you do have in-person classes, DIY type things regularly. They're great items to get while you can also get free things and stock up that way. So just make sure you're texting, emailing, calling people, getting in touch with people somehow and just genuinely looking at how can I show up and serve these people because this is a great deal and I don't want them to miss out. While you are contacting people, don't forget to invite them to our Wellness Made Simple class on Thursday. It's a great chance to remind them that we have that coming up. and that they can plug in and learn more about the foundational wellness and how to look at and deal with root causes of disease, why essential oils are so powerful, some of our most powerful supplements, and that there's prize drawings that go along with being on that. So Tanya is giving away bergamot mint this month for those who join Wellness Made Simple classes, and this will be our last one this coming Thursday for the month. I'm also going to do a couple of giveaways. I haven't decided what, but for those who join live, it might kind of even depend on how many we have join live. So that'll just be a special thing I'm doing Thursday. It won't be on the recording. I'm just going to do it after we get done. I'll mention it at the beginning, and put it in the chat and that kind of thing, but I don't want it on the recording. But I do want you to know this will be, I'll probably be doing at least two or three additional fun giveaways, supplements and oils, because Tanya's going to be out of town. So I'm going to be filling in and leading for her and filling the host role. And I'm trying to encourage my own team to invite more people. So I'm going to be doing a few extra giveaways. So I'll decide what those are going to be and I'll post it somewhere tomorrow for my team. But if you aren't on my team and you want to know what those are going to be so you can promote it, please reach out to me and I'll let you know. Okay, so what BOGO things are working for you, or what questions do you have about BOGOs or back office or comp plan? Hopefully I can answer that because it's still something sometimes I have to look at my cheat sheet and notes for to make sure I don't tell you the wrong thing. Any thoughts? How's BOGO week starting out for you guys? How do you like these BOGOs? I think it was super smart of doTERRA to do BOGOs the first month of our new comp plan change to get some excitement about what the comp plan can do, but also just in general, where people are maybe expressing concerns or uncertainty. The BOGOs are always an awesome thing to get morale high. So glad you're loving them, Michelle. A full class on the comp plan. Um, yeah, that is something that doTERRA had been offering regularly the last few months. I know there's recordings, so reach out if you don't know where to find a recording with a full overview of the comp plan. I'm pretty sure it's on the doTERRA Business YouTube at this point, but if you can't find one that walks you through, we'll get you one of those recordings, and I'm sure your upline leader would also be glad to walk you through questions that you have specifically in reference to your own team and your own ability to earn. So make sure you get some support on that. If you are still having questions, it's perfectly normal. We're all still trying to remember, and then actually seeing it play out in real life is different from having been on a call and learned about it from corporate, seeing how it affects your own numbers. So I hope you're seeing some positive things with that, that you're seeing some ability to earn some boosts that maybe you couldn't have before, and maybe a path to get forward to that next rank that's a little bit clearer. So I hope you're seeing that. I'm seeing some of that with myself and some of my leaders, and it is exciting. So especially the 500 pod, I think that's probably the most positive feedback I'm getting. Instead of it having to be three separate people with at least 100 PV LRP, that it just has to add up to 500 is so much easier to explain and to see at a glance and all of that, and not to have to be like, oh man, that person ordered 98. How can I get in touch with them to try to get them ordered two more PV? It doesn't matter anymore. Yay. Hallelujah, right? Yes. Okay, well, we're a little bit early here. I was thinking there would be a little more questions, but you guys have been pretty good with, I think, already having answered those questions in the past. And Tanya did a great job going through the comp plan with us before too. So if those things do come up, make sure to reach out. Yes, I'm thankful for that too. The pods, it's fantastic. Oh, thank you, Tanya. She says, I'm killing it growing my PGV. Woohoo. Yeah, I really, it got my attention in January when we started hearing, okay, a new comp plan's coming, and I didn't know all the details, but I knew personal growth was going to be part of it, or personal volume of people that you've enrolled and their LRPs. So I started hearing that, and it got my wheels turning. okay, it's time to start now because I don't know, even at that time, I didn't even know when the comp plan was going into effect, but I knew it was coming. And that was just the motivation I needed to start really intentionally reaching out to people and having in-person gatherings with new people. And it's paying off, and it's been really fun. So it's fun to see that growth, and now to have that tracker where I can see it at a glance is really helpful. And it's just been a little at a time. It's not like I'm making top and roller lists. It's not about that. It's really just about showing people the benefits of the foundational wellness products and other things that are targeted to their health, and sitting down with them. And most of my classes have been like four, five, six people. I'm not having huge classes, and I'm not having them every week or anything like that. I've had a lot more one-on-ones and small classes that have led to that. So it's a start, and I'm going for higher levels of that. So that boost will grow. That's my plan and my goal. And that's the first thing to work on. If your team growth volume isn't where you want it to be, remember your personal growth volume feeds into that too. So it starts with you, right? It starts with the person in the mirror showing up and doing what that person needs to do, right? Before it's about anybody else. And I do love that about the comp plan changes, that it's reminding us of our responsibility to show up, to serve people, and to be just really aware of what's going to actually serve them in the long run, because it can be easy to go, oh, that person just wants lavender for the occasional tough night of sleep or bug bite or burn or something like that, and I'll just sell them that. But if you know they really need something for their high blood pressure, something for their aches and pains, and it's, just putting Deep Blue on it really isn't getting to the internal root cause. Because I think sometimes it can be easy to treat oils like the Band-Aid solution, because we know if I put this oil on it real quick, it's going to help temporarily. But we don't always even take the time to get to the root cause. And I don't think it's because we're being lazy. It's because we don't want to be salesy, right? We always hear that. And if you're even thinking, I don't want to be salesy, you're not being salesy, and you're not in danger of being salesy because people who are very pushy don't ever think, I don't want to be salesy. So don't even worry about it. If you're thinking that way, that's not you. But what we can do better is show up and serve people with long-term solutions that are actually going to put their foundational health in a stronger place, to support their wellness needs. And yes, they can have targeted solutions too. But I think that's been the big shift this year that we saw doTERRA making too, was foundational wellness, VMG, E omegas, things that everyone can benefit from, and then adding on top of that for the microbiome, for specific health needs. And it's made a really positive shift, for a lot of people on our team. So the Wellness Made Simple and the Path to 500 and Beyond are the two main classes that we do have, yes, on a regular basis. Usually the Path to 500 is the first Tuesday of the month, but if there's a holiday or Tanya has a trip or some, convention or conference or other thing gets in the way, she might have it on a different Tuesday sometimes. And then the Thursdays are also not set in stone. You just have to watch her calendar and her posts, because it just depends month to month what she has going on, what other things doTERRA has planned, which Thursdays are going to be best during that month. So, but we do have one this week on the 26th of June. So that'll be our last one for this month. But those are the two main ones. And then if you watch in Drop by Drop, you will see every Wednesday there is a health topic that's covered by a group called Discover Essentials. This week is on lymphatic flow, which is a super hot topic, really important topic, and pretty trendy too in terms of, algorithms out there, people searching for helping their lymphatic drainage issues or lymphatic flow. So this Wednesday's class is going to be all about that. That's one that I'm prioritizing personally because it's something that affects me and that I want to be able to teach others better. So I'm always trying to learn about that lymphatic flow. So that'll be a really good one on this Wednesday. So you can always watch and see what the topic of the week is. Once in a while they'll skip a Wednesday, but most Wednesdays we have those continuing education. And they do it in a smart way too, where they only have the recording available for a week because they want people to prioritize getting that in if they can't make it live. So those are the main ones that we have access to, along with the ones that Tanya leads. Yeah. So we'll end a little bit early here, and you can use this next 10 minutes if you had planned on going to the top of the hour to reach out to people about BOGOs, invite people to the BOGO group, tag them on the BOGOs, giveaways that Tanya's doing. Make sure you're getting the word out. Take a few minutes. I always encourage this after a Monday meetup for myself too, and it's later here. I'm on the East Coast, Eastern time. But even if it's just a few minutes, what are some action steps? Right after Monday meetup, while whatever the topic was is fresh in my mind, what am I going to do about it for myself? Am I going to be reaching out to specific people? I'm going to track my rank, my power of three, use those trackers, make sure I know how to do that and know where I'm at. Because we're getting down to where we just have a week left in the month and we have a week of BOGO. So it's an awesome time to maximize what you can get out of June. And are there questions you have that you need to reach out to an upline or someone about? So jot down a few things, a few action steps before you get to the top of the hour for whatever time it is in your time zone, in your part of the world, and act on it. Make a plan to do that the rest of this week and report back. If you need some accountability, always happy for you to reach out to me on Facebook, or if you have my number, text me and say, hey, you said to do that, and this is what I did, and I will celebrate with you. And we love to help keep each other accountable as well. So if you need that, reach out. And that's something I still need for myself. So I totally get needing that in your life too. All right. Well, have a great rest of the month. We do have another Monday meetup. Yeah, because next Monday is the last day of the month, isn't it? So we have one more Monday meetup, last day of the month, next Monday. So we'll be back, same time, same link, all of that. We'll see you then and we'll celebrate whatever you've been able to accomplish between now and then. All right. Have a great night or a great day, Reed. Bye, everybody.